So explain a little bit more about how we work, about systemic modelling.
So systemic modelling for me is drawing on the wisdom of the system. So if we've got a group of people, we'll be making sure that everybody's voice is heard. If somebody doesn't want to speak, that's okay. They have the opportunity to speak, but they also don't have to. And it's getting a system, whether that's a team at work, a family, a group of people, an association, to work out how their system is working. And it might be working really well, so you've got a team at work that's really good at onboarding. Let's find out how they do that so that we can transfer those skills into another department that maybe doesn't do it so well. Or deadlines, one team, they're really good at meeting deadlines. Let's find out how they do it and we can get that information somewhere else.
One thing that's great about the methodology that we use is how we give people equal attention and how we encourage difference. So one of the key questions I always hear you asking is, and who's different to that? And who's got something different to that? What do you notice? What's the impact that you notice when you ask those questions?
For me, they're very gentle opening of any possible rigidity. So that's the way I think, and I've always thought that way. But there might be different possibilities, but it's not a forcing. You're not obliged to think differently. You're just hearing these different perspectives, and then your mind is invited to consider them as well.
And then what do you notice happening when people get invited to consider differences like that?
Well, then they get curious about each other's stuff. And instead of, being annoyed at their colleague who never reaches their deadlines on time, they're like, so tell me, how does that work for you?
And then what happens?
Then they can try and find out sort of ways of solving those problems that aren't coming from us. It's these two different ways of working together. How can we now that we understand each other, how can we work together?
Yeah, they start to recalibrate their views, don't they? And then we notice that they're much more open to compromise and negotiation and finding new ways that hadn't even existed before.
I think there's less judgment, isn't there? Instead of, like they do it different to me, they must be wrong. It's like, they do it differently to me. Wow, that's really interesting. I never thought of that before. And this autumn, I will be offering half-price coaching sessions. They're available till the end of November. You can work on anything, whether it's your personal or your professional life, and you'll find details below. Just get in touch.